Dyeing fabric with chalk paint is a fun and easy process, but there are definitely a few things you need to know before you get started. Hey, I'm Deanna. Welcome to my studio. In this video, I will demonstrate the process of dyeing fabric with chalk paint, and I'll also answer some frequently asked questions about the process. So make sure you watch all the way to the end of the video so you don't miss a thing. Let's get started. Dip dyeing fabric with chalk paint is an easy way to change the color. Great for home decor items like curtains or table runners or even your throw pillows, and it works on old and new fabrics. I will be dyeing these flour sack tea towels. They're 100% cotton and white. I find that the best results come from using a natural fabric like cotton or linen and starting with a lighter color, a white, off-white, or beige. I've also got chalk paint by SLOAN here in the color Florence, a spoon, a mixing bowl, as well as a bucket with some water. I'll leave a link in the description below to all of the products that I'm working with today, so you can easily find them if you'd like to recreate this project. The first step is to create your dye. The ratio is roughly 1 liter of water to 1 tablespoon of chalk paint. I've got 2 liters of water in this bucket I'm going to add to my bowl. And I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of chalk paint. This color is called Florence. And then stir thoroughly to make sure the paint is fully dispersed. If you're not familiar with chalk paint, it's a unique mineral-based paint with natural pigments that's primarily used for painting furniture. I'm not going to go into too much detail about chalk paint in this video, but if you are interested in learning more about the product, be sure to subscribe to my channel and remember to click the notification bell as well, because that's how you'll be alerted when I upload new videos. Now the dye is ready. Take your fabric and just submerge it into the dye and agitate the fabric to help dye evenly. I find that if you let it sit and soak for a long time, some of the paint will settle to the bottom and that can leave heavier spots, so you do want to keep it moving. Once your entire piece of fabric is completely dry, you can remove from the water and squeeze out the excess. And you can see that didn't really take much time at all. It was about a minute that I was stirring around in the water. You'll want to leave your fabric to air dry. If you have a line, you could hang it on a line. Or if you don't have a clothesline, you can just simply lay it flat on some plastic to dry. I'm going to dip dye a second towel, and I'm going to show you an ombre effect, just something a little bit more creative than just the solid dyed fabric. Using the same color Florence in the same ratio, about 1 tablespoon of paint to 1 liter of water. I'm just going to give this a stir here in case anything has settled to the bottom. Since this is a tea towel, I'm going to dye it keeping in mind that it'll probably hang over the handlebar on the oven door. So to create an ombre effect, I want the darker green at the bottom and just kind of fading up to white at the top. So I have it folded here as I would to hang over the oven door. With a clean hand, I'm just going to hold on to the white part at the top, and then my other hand I'll use to submerge. So I'll dip in the ends of the fabric, and I think I'll go just over halfway up and then quickly pull that part out. And then we'll leave the bottom to soak and see if we can get that a little bit darker. Now I'm going to take a spray bottle with water, and I'm just going to mist along this top edge. Adding a little water here will soften that top line and help to blend the color up into the white. And then again, squeeze out the fabric. I'm going to start at the top and squeeze down so that the color runs down and doesn't get my white area. And again, you could hang this to dry if you had a line, or just lay it flat. Just make sure that your table is clean before you lay down so no dye transfers onto the white part of the fabric. Before your dyed item is ready to use, you'll need to leave it to completely dry. And then to help set the color, you can either iron or throw in the dryer on a hot setting, and the heat will help to set the color. Let's take a look at some fabrics I've already dyed, and I'll answer some of your frequently asked questions. The most common question is, can you wash the fabric? The answer is yes. Cold water, you can use your laundry soap, no bleach. The next question I usually get then is, will there be any color loss? In my experience, there's little to no color loss if you follow the process I demonstrated today. I find that if you use more paint in your ratio of paint to water, the colors do come out more vibrant initially, but when you wash it, you will experience that color loss. So be sure to wash in cold water and with light colors if you're using a higher ratio of paint to water in your dye. Here's an example of the Florence color after I've washed and dried. The same color that I've just used here in my dip dye. So this one here is still wet, so it's coming out a little bit darker, but as it dries it will lighten up. And you can see here the colors remain pretty much the same after being washed. Is this non-toxic? Yes, it's a low VOC paint, mineral-based natural pigments, and it's suitable for using on things like kitchen tables and baby cribs. So when we're dyeing the fabric, the same rules apply. Safe to use on items like table runners or pillowcases. How does it feel? It's very soft. It feels exactly like the flour sack tea towel before I did the dye. The more paint you use in your mix, you'll find creates a stiffer or crustier feeling on the dried fabric, but as soon as you wash it, that excess paint is removed and it softens the fabric up. Another question I get is, what type of fabric can I use? As I mentioned earlier, I like to stick with natural fabrics like cotton and linens. I have tried some shiny synthetic fabrics and it just doesn't absorb into the fiber, so best to stick with those natural fibers. And stick with lighter colors like your whites, off-whites, and beiges. You can try on darker colors, but you won't have nearly as strong of a result. Why would you choose chalk paint to dye fabric instead of buying a traditional fabric dye? Well, it's a great option for someone who wants a non-toxic dye, or for someone who likes these sort of soft vintage pastel hues. Also, a lot of people are using this product to paint furniture. So it's just to show you another option of what you can do with the product if you maybe already have some on hand. This one here just to show you can do some really creative things, create your tie-dyed or different dip-dyed looks. And this one here, I've added a block print of a fork, knife, and spoon after the fabric had been washed. I have a video coming up on block printing if you're interested in this technique. If you have any more questions at all, feel free to leave those in the comment section below for me to answer. And if you enjoyed this video, remember to click the thumbs up. If you're interested in learning more creative DIY techniques, remember to hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell, because that's how you'll be alerted every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you back here next time.